Hi everyone. Welcome to week 14 of English 2332. Well, the semester is wrapping up. You've turned in your last response papers, and I'll get those graded and back to you as quick as I can, but it probably won't be until next week. This week, on Thursday, which I guess is April the 23rd, you have your third quiz, and then next week is nothing but review for the final exam. Then on Monday, May the 4th, is your final exam. Now, on your final exam, the online test will open at 8 a.m. and close at 11:55. We'll still be using HonorLock as our virtual proctor, but you're more than welcome to come up to the campus and take your test in person if you feel more comfortable. My office is 2022 at the South Plains College downtown campus on 13th and Avenue Q. I'll be here from about 4 o'clock on, um, so feel free to drop by pretty much anytime between 4 and 9, but you will need to let me know beforehand. Just drop me an email, jfly@southplainscollege.edu. Let's talk about the third quiz. Third quiz coming up this Thursday, and it's basically just going to cover Dante Alighieri, the Inferno, um, cantos 1 through 4 and 33 through 34. So really, just what is that? Just 6 books of the 33 book novel. Then the poem. I'm sorry, it's a poem. Then just the summary of Purgatory and the summary of Paradise. Um, then I'll also talk about Geoffrey Chaucer and just the general prologue, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, Shakespeare, a little bit about what the Renaissance is, how long it lasted, and then Macbeth. Now, if you haven't read Macbeth before, it's really as one of Shakespeare's finest plays, and I've taught it for a while. It's short and it moves very fast. There's a lot of characters, but there's very few main characters. So focus on the main characters, focus on just the main plot, and you'll be fine. Students ask, can I watch a video instead? You really can't. And once you read the play and then watch a video, you'll understand why. Every director of every movie, of every play, of every thing that we see interprets the original text and adds scenes, deletes characters, rearranges things. If you read the original Harry Potter and then saw the movie, you know that every director left out entire characters. I don't think Peeves the Poltergeist made it into a single one of the movies, but every director gives you his or her interpretation, and you don't want that. You want William Shakespeare's version. Where his name is, yeah, right there. So read the play. It really is a quick read because it's so exciting. There's so much stuff going on, and I think you'll enjoy it. You do need to know a little bit about the life and times of William Shakespeare, a little bit about who he was and why he did some of the things. A lot of people look at, there's a lot we don't know about his life. And when you read about it, people will say, well, William Shakespeare did this, or William Shakespeare didn't do that. Maybe. We should always preface everything we learn about William Shakespeare with a big we don't know, because there's just a lot we're guessing about. There's a lot of assumptions. There's a lot of just maybes involved in the study of the life and times of William Shakespeare. Remember, he never wrote a biography. Nobody wrote a book about him while he was alive. None of his plays were formally published while he was alive. It was 7 years after he was dead that Richard Burbage got together and published the first folio. But there's just a lot that we kind of say, well, this makes sense, or this is the best interpretation of this collection of data. For example, when was he born? Well, we really don't know. Now, we do know that he was christened on April the 26th, and children often were christened 3 days after they were born. So we often say he was born on April 23rd, which comes here in a couple of days. But his parents may have fudged it by a day or two, simply so that his birthday would coincide with a popular national holiday, St. George's Day. But since we do know he died on that same day in 1616, it's a convenient date to remember. The rest of his life, though, is pretty much up for grabs. Why did he marry Anne Hathaway? We really don't know. Well, we know why, because she was already pregnant, but yeah, all the romance, all did they have a happy marriage? Why was he gone so long? Why? What did There's 10 years called the Forgotten Years when we just have no clue where he was or what he was doing. Could have been in prison, could have been in the military, could have been a schoolmaster, could have been a glover, could have been a butcher, could have been a schoolmaster. We just really don't know. So a lot of times it's just up for grabs. There's resurges every few years a new question: who wrote the plays of William Shakespeare? The question basically says that these plays are so wonderful, they're so majestic, so broad in their scope, their understanding of human nature, their ability to bring characters to life, that one man could not have written them. One man who didn't even go to college, one man who, as far as we know, may not have traveled all that much, yet his plays are cast in far off settings. So, who really wrote them? And there are several good candidates, but I tend to believe that William Shakespeare was just a genius. Like Mozart was a genius in music, and Einstein was a genius in math. Shakespeare was a genius with words and with plays. And of course, um, there's once you accept that genius has the ability to bridge the gap of what we don't know, then it's easier to understand. So let's just go with William Shakespeare wrote it. Oh, and by the way, on the test, if it says what year was he born, please don't put we don't know or none of the above, because we're going with the commonly accepted answers of April 23rd, 1564 on that and all the rest of this stuff. But I think you'll like the plays of William Shakespeare. Macbeth is a tragedy. It questions the sanity of ambition. How sane are you if you have this unchecked, unbridled, uncontrolled ambition to get ahead? And it really was uncontrolled ambition both for Lord Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. It, it, it appears more viral in her because women weren't supposed to be ambitious at all, and men weren't supposed to be that ambitious. But her ambition is just blatant. It's just fiery. So her ambition becomes very, very clear, and his ambition is a little bit more understated, but still there. And once he becomes king of Scotland, his tyranny just takes over, and the ending has several. They're not funny aspects, but they're curious aspects. Um, he sends his troops out to fight the battle against Macduff, and a lot of his troops defect, uh, which means he loses the battle a lot quicker than he should have. But anyway, so it's a fascinating play. I hope you'll enjoy it. And of course, you can read it in the original Shakespearean English or Elizabethan English. You can get a modern side by side translation if you want. You can read the reading link I've posted or get yourself a little standalone copy. This one's from Barnes and Noble. It is the annotated Shakespeare. I think it's just published by Barnes and Noble. Yeah. Anyway, so the quiz will be over William Shakespeare, Macbeth, Acts 1 through 5, the Renaissance, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, Chaucer in the general prologue, the summary of Purgatory and Paradise, the Inferno, just the first four and the last two books, and the Dante Alighieri. Okay, when you have questions, please drop me an email, jfly@southplainscollege.edu, and I look forward to hearing from you. Have a good week.